I'm so pleased to be here today and to be able to be part of E is for Ethiopia. This is a book that I wrote called Trouble in 2 different languages, and you'll see a little bit about Ethiopia in its pages because I was a kid who grew up in Ethiopia and tended to get into trouble. Trouble always found Tekla. He didn't mean to get stung by poking a stick into a line of marching ants. He didn't mean to make dust fly onto the roasting coffee beans. And when he watched the family goats, he always meant to tend them carefully. Finally, one day, Tekla's father took a piece of wood and carved a gubata board. Now, he said, we will have no more problems. A gubata game always keeps a young boy out of trouble. The next morning, Tekla meant to head straight to the goats' grazing place in the hills. But far in the distance, something was happening on the path. Aha! It was a group of traders with their dusty, musky camels. Is there no wood in this country? One of them asked. We found only a few sticks for our fire. Of course there is wood, Tekla said. He held up his gubata board. Thank you, the man said. He grabbed the board and threw it on the fire. Tekla set up such a howling that the traders' ears hurt. Take this fine knife, one of them cried, and stop that noise. Tekla was sad, but what could be done now? Down the path he went with his 2 goats and his fine knife. Before long, he saw a man sitting in the long grass. Here, the man said, a knife is no thing for a young boy. Why don't you let me have it to skin the little dik-dik that will soon be caught in my trap? Tekla was sorry to think of such a shy and delicate animal becoming a meal, but people must eat. So he said, what will you give me if I give you this fine knife? The man held out his masinko. My family needs food even more than music. So off Tekla went with his 2 goats and his masinko, making a fine noise, until he came upon a group of musicians shaking their shoulders as they danced. Why don't you give us that masinko to play at the wedding feast, one said. You take this drum instead. Why not? Tekla tucked the drum under his arm and tagged after them to the wedding, where the red smell of spices filled the air. In the swirl of music and dancing, no one noticed Tekla sampling the wedding feast. When one of the cooks finally chased him away, Tekla trotted off with his 2 goats and his drum. The path was hot, and Tekla stopped to watch a lizard sunning itself on a rock. His mother had told him not to touch lizards, but this one was so mysterious and still, and it could eat flies and mosquitoes in the house. So he popped it into his bag. When he found a shady cornfield, Tekla took out his drum and began to thump. 3 monkeys jumped out of the corn and scampered off. The farmer ran over. Stay here and make that wonderful noise after noon, he said, and I will give you a bag full of corn. As early evening shadows crawled across the ground, Tekla took his corn, and he traded the drum for a fat papaya and set off for home. A woman called out to him, Salam, where did you find that papaya? I would like to get one for my children who have been sick. Tekla looked at the children. Here, he said, let me make you a gift of this corn and the papaya. Come in, the woman said. She blew on the fire and stirred the lentils. While Tekla scooped up lentils with his injera, he watched the children playing their gubata game. Then he coaxed the goats out of the neighbor's garden, said goodbye, and started down the path. Suddenly, he heard footsteps. The littlest girl was running after him, holding out the gubata board. So it was that Tekla came home with 2 goats, 1 lizard, and a gubata board. His father patted him on the head with pride. How well fed and contented the goats are today, he said to his family. Did I not tell you, a Gubba board never fails to keep a young boy out of trouble? The end.
Hi there, I'm Jane Kurtz's sister, Caroline, and so I grew up in Ethiopia as well. I also went back to Ethiopia to work, and so I learned to speak Amharic fairly well. Of course, I have an American accent, but I also have been teaching myself to read Amharic. You can see how different the script is. There's 231 or so letters in the Amharic alphabet, which they call the Fidel. So it's quite a project learning to read, and I figure I'm about at a second grade level where I have to sound out most of the words. But just so that you can hear what Amharic sounds like with an American accent, I will read you the first page of Takale. Takale hule chigir wust indigabano. Yane basalfia mi guazutin gundanoch, be inchetsi nakaka, yinakasunyal below, alasabam number. Andem si chawet, yabonanao abwara, yemikosalo bunna wust yigabal below, fitsum altapicum.